You're lucky anyone even wants you. Turns out my wife wasn't just cruel, she was cheating. So yeah, I'm the fat guy. Let's just start there. For most of my life I hovered somewhere between stocky and yeah, you should probably sit this roller coaster out. I wasn't born with movie star looks. But I was kind. Reliable. I took care of people. My wife, we'll call her Jenna, used to say that's what she loved about me. You're just so safe, she said once. That word used to make me feel warm. Now it makes me want to vomit. Jenna and I were together for 10 years. Married for 7. We met in college when I was still working out 3 days a week and had a full head of confidence. Over time, life happened. Long hours. Fast food. Stress. I gained weight, slowly at first, then like a snowball rolling downhill. She never said much. Not directly. But there were the little things. She stopped initiating sex. Said she was just tired or not in the mood. She'd flinch when I hugged her from behind. Start commenting on guys in TV shows, always lean, always shirtless. She'd say it was just a joke. My mom, bless her twisted heart, once said, "Honestly, honey, you're lucky Jenna even married you. You're not exactly a catch these days." And Jenna didn't disagree. That's when I started to believe it. That I was the one who ruined everything. That maybe I was too fat, too dull, too soft. I started avoiding mirrors. I started avoiding myself. But none of that compares to what I found last spring, and the storm it unleashed. It started with the Wi-Fi. No joke, our internet was glitchy, and Jenna was mid-rant about her Zoom freezing during her remote consulting job, which I now realize was about 20% consulting, 80% bullshitting on group chats with guys named Troy. I offered to check the router, but she said it was probably her laptop, so I grabbed it off the kitchen table while she was showering. All I was trying to do was reset the connection. Then the email popped up. Gmail tab open. She hadn't logged out. Subject line: "Last night was wild face-blowing kiss." Now listen, I'm not proud of snooping. But let me tell you something. There's a difference between paranoia and intuition. And my gut had been screaming for months. So yeah, I clicked. And I saw everything. A full thread with some guy named Connor. Shirtless pics of him. Selfies of her, in our bedroom mirror, in nothing but a lace thong and garter belt I never saw her wear once in our marriage. I kept reading. "I needed that so bad, smiling face with horns, he thinks I'm at girls' night, lol. He passed out after eating pizza, and I snuck out around 11. Can't believe he hasn't noticed. Then again, he probably just thinks he's too fat to fuck." That line? That one right there? It punched me in the gut harder than any fist ever could. But the worst part wasn't the messages. It was the Google Calendar invite. Yeah. A calendar invite. With a little red heart and the title. "Velvet Room, 8 p.m., masks optional." Click the link. Led to a private site for, wait for it, an invite-only erotic masquerade club. I sat there, blinking, reading this polished copy about themed rooms, voyeur-friendly zones, and couples exploring boundaries. She had gone to sex parties while telling me she had work dinners and book club. And I was at home eating leftovers, wondering if I was even worth touching anymore. I slammed the laptop shut. My ears were ringing. She came out of the shower humming some top 40 garbage, towel wrapped like nothing had changed. I stared at her and thought, "You are not who I thought you were. Not even close." I don't remember standing up. I don't remember walking to the living room. I just remember Jenna walking out with wet hair and that smug, lazy smile she always wore when she thought she was being cute, and me holding her laptop in both hands like it was radioactive. "Who's Connor?" She froze. Just for a second. Then tilted her head, that fake confused look she always gave when she was about to lie. "What are you talking about?" I held it out. "I saw your messages. I saw the photos. The calendar invite. The sex club. There was a silence. Then, she laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not a, "you caught me" kind of laugh. It was mocking. "You're digging through my stuff now? Seriously?" I blinked. "That's all you've got? You don't deny it? You don't explain?" She rolled her eyes, walked past me to grab a La Croix from the fridge, and said, "Oh, come on, Tom. What did you expect? You haven't touched me in months. You barely even look at me anymore. I did try. I thought you didn't want me. Well, can you blame me?" she said, snapping the can open. "You don't even take care of yourself anymore. I'm not your mother, Tom. I didn't sign up to spoon-feed a man who breathes like a pug going upstairs." That one hurt. She knew I had sleep apnea. That I was struggling. That I was trying to get healthier. I'd asked her to join me on walks. She said she was too busy. "So you cheated," I said, almost whispering. "You cheated, and you lied, and now you're blaming me?" She sipped her drink, leaned against the counter like this was some sitcom scene, and said, "I wouldn't call it cheating, really. More like entertaining myself while you were checked out." "Entertaining yourself? Honestly?" she said, straightening up. "You were just too easy to lie to. That was it." The switch flipped. Whatever sad, insecure part of me still believed I was the problem, he died in that moment. And the man she thought she could control? He woke the hell up. Didn't throw anything. Didn't cry. I just walked to the bedroom, grabbed a gym bag, and started throwing in clothes. Underwear. Jeans. Toothbrush. Chargers. No hesitation. Jenna stood in the hallway, arms crossed, like I was being dramatic. "Tom! Stop!" I didn't. She stepped into the doorway. "Seriously? You're just going to leave because of one little mistake?" "One?" I said, still packing. "You've been screwing him for months. You called me fat to him. You planned orgy nights. You lied every single time I asked if something was wrong." She scoffed. "God, you're so emotional. Maybe if you put this much energy into the treadmill, we wouldn't be here." I paused. Looked her dead in the eyes. "Do you like being cruel?" She hesitated. Then, quieter, but with that same smirk. "Maybe. It's the only time you actually react." There it was. Her confession, wrapped in a joke. I zipped the bag, slung it over my shoulder, and walked past her. She followed me down the stairs. "You're not leaving. You can't. Where are you even going to go? To someone who doesn't think I'm disposable. That's rich. Who's going to want you, Tom? You're 30 pounds away from a heart attack. You've got no friends. No confidence. I'm the best thing that ever happened to you." I turned at the door. "You were the worst thing dressed as the best." And I finally took off the wrapping. Then I left. I didn't slam the door. She deserved silence. I crashed at my buddy Liam's place. He'd been divorced 2 years earlier. Knew what rock bottom looked like. When I showed up on his porch with a duffel bag and a hollow stare, he didn't ask questions. Just opened the door, pointed to the spare bedroom, and said, "Beer's in the fridge. Take your time." That first night was hell. I laid there staring at the ceiling, Jenna's voice looping in my skull. "You're lucky I stayed. Who would even want you? You were just too easy to lie to." I started believing it again. That she was right. That I was disgusting. That I should be grateful she hadn't left me. I almost texted her. Just to. I don't even know. To beg? To yell? To feel something? But then a different voice slipped in, quieter but steady. What if she was wrong? What if all that poison she fed me wasn't truth, but control? What if I wasn't unlovable, just unloved by the wrong person? The next morning, I opened my notes app. Made a list called Fix It. It had 2 items. 1. Drink water. 2. Walk 15 minutes. That was it. No gym. No diets. No six-pack dreams. Just something. A crack of light in the cave. Liam saw me lacing up my shoes and said, "New leaf?" I shrugged. "New dirt. Maybe I'll plant something." He grinned. And for the first time in a long time, I did too. The walks became runs. The runs became weightlifting. I didn't go full influencer mode or start posting thirst traps. I didn't even tell people what I was doing. I just did it. Quiet. Relentless. Every day I poured pain into motion. Every "you're lucky I stayed" got turned into push-ups. Every "no one else would want you" was a lap around the block. I started tracking meals. Not starving myself, just respecting my body for the first time in years. The first 10 pounds were hard. The next 20 came faster. By month 4, I was down 40. My clothes didn't fit. My face looked sharper. My eyes clearer. But more than anything, I stood different. I didn't hunch anymore. Didn't avoid mirrors. I'd catch my reflection and think, damn, he looks like someone worth fighting for. Then one afternoon I ran into her. Jenna. Grocery store. I had a basket full of eggs, spinach, and Greek yogurt. She had wine, chips, and some frozen dinner that looked like depression in plastic. She saw me, and did a double take. I nodded politely. Said nothing. She blinked, eyes scanning me up and down. "You look different." I shrugged. "Taking care of myself." She tried to smile. It faltered. "Are you seeing anyone?" I tilted my head. "Seeing myself more clearly every day. It's enough for now." She opened her mouth to say something, but I walked away. Didn't look back. That conversation lasted 30 seconds. But I swear to God, it healed months. It took 6 months. Not to heal, that's a long game, but to stop looking at every woman like she was a grenade waiting to go off. I was leaner now, stronger. But I was also sharper. I didn't just carry muscle, I carried awareness. So when I finally dipped a toe into dating, I didn't go back to what I used to chase. No Instagram filters. No mean girls who made me feel like I was lucky to be in the room. I met Emily on a casual app. Her profile was simple. No duck face, no alpha men only nonsense. First date? Coffee and sarcasm. Second date? Walk through a bookstore and way too much eye contact. She looked at me the way Jenna never did, like I was seeing. And not in a charity way. Like I was someone worth knowing, not fixing. The first time I took my shirt off in front of her, I hesitated. Old reflex. She smiled and traced a finger down my chest. "You know, for a guy who lifts like a beast, you're way too shy." I laughed. That night, I stood in front of her mirror while she slept, looking at the man she saw. He wasn't perfect. Still had some loose skin. Still had scars. But he was real. Solid. Built from the ground up. That's when the message came. "Jenna, I've been thinking about us a lot lately. I made mistakes. You've changed. Maybe we could talk?" I stared at it for a long minute. Then I texted back. "You're right, I have changed. Thanks for the motivation. That's all I needed." Blocked her. Deleted the thread. Went back to bed. Emily stirred and rolled over. "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, sliding in beside her. "Everything's finally exactly where it's supposed to be." It happened on a Thursday. Leg day. I just crushed a deadlift PR and was dripping sweat, towel over my shoulder, music still thumping in my ears. I walked out into the parking lot, mentally already halfway through a protein shake, when I saw her leaning on the hood of my car. Jenna. Full makeup. Tight yoga pants that probably hadn't seen a lunge in 5 years. That same fake sweet smile she used to use when she was trying to manipulate me into ordering Thai food or cleaning the gutters. She waved. I took out my earbuds, stood 10 feet away. "Tom," she said, pushing off the hood like we were about to have a Hallmark moment. "Wow. You look." She didn't finish the sentence. Probably because the last time she saw me shirtless, she called me a deflated beach ball. What do you want? I said flatly. I've just been thinking about you. About us. I was stupid, I know. I didn't appreciate what I had. And seeing you now. I mean, look at you. You're everything I always wanted. I raised an eyebrow. Everything you cheated on? Her face twitched. I was scared. And insecure. I pushed you away because I didn't feel good enough. I thought hurting you first would protect me. But I see it now, you were the one. You're the only man who ever actually loved me. She stepped closer. I stepped back. I don't hate you, Jenna, I said. But I don't miss you either. You didn't just betray me, you trained me to betray myself. And I've worked too damn hard to be that version of me again. I'm different now, she whispered. So am I said. That's why this conversation is over. She opened her mouth to argue. I walked away. No yelling. No mic drop. Just peace, and a glute pump. It had been almost a year since the divorce when I finally saw my mom again. We'd talked, sure, holidays, short phone calls, but we'd kept it surface level. The last real conversation we had ended with her telling me, well, maybe if you lost a little weight, Jenna wouldn't have strayed. Yeah. That one stuck. So I showed up to her place for dinner one night, suit jacket, fresh haircut, 15 pounds lighter since she'd last seen me. Her jaw actually dropped when I stepped through the door. Tom? She blinked. You look great. I smiled. Thanks, Mom. Just started taking care of myself. We sat. Ate. She asked cautious questions. And then, halfway through dessert, she said the words I never thought I'd hear. You know, I think I was too hard on you. About Jenna. About a lot of things. I didn't say anything. Just sipped my coffee. She kept going. I thought she was the prize, you know. Pretty, confident, career-minded. But looking back, she was cold. You were always the one trying. I still didn't speak. Not because I was angry, but because I didn't need to. Let her sit in it. Let her feel the silence. Finally, she looked at me and said, You deserve better. And I'm sorry for not saying that sooner. And damn if that didn't hit harder than anything. Because growing up, I'd spent years thinking I wasn't enough. And hearing that from the woman who helped plant that seed? That was a kind of healing I didn't know I needed. So I said, Thanks, Mom. I know now. I've got a son from a relationship before Jenna. He's 10. Bright kid. Loves astronomy and hates broccoli. He lives with his mom most of the time, but we've always been close. I never told him much about what happened with Jenna. No kid needs to carry their parents' mess. But one night during our usual weekend hangout, we were playing a board game when he asked, Dad, how do you know if you're good enough for someone? That stopped me cold. I asked him where that came from, and he shrugged. There's this girl at school. She's really cool, and I tried to talk to her, but she said I was just okay. Not special. I laughed a little, not because it was funny, but because it hit so deep. I saw myself in him. 10 years old and already questioning his worth based on someone else's shallow judgment. I leaned in and said, Listen, bud. There's always gonna be people who try to make you feel small so they can feel big. Doesn't mean they're right. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means they're not your people. He nodded slowly. But what if I don't get picked? You don't need to be picked, I said. You build your value. You show up for yourself first. And when you do, the right people find you. The ones who don't see you as a project or a backup, but as a choice. He smiled at that. And so did I. Because that advice? That was for both of us. So one of our old mutual friends, back when Jenna and I still played, happy couple, invited me to his wedding. Small guest list, local venue, backyard wine and lights vibe. I almost didn't go. But then I thought, why not? I had nothing to hide. I looked good, I felt good, and honestly, I wanted to see how it felt to show up without shame for once. I wore a charcoal suit, tailored since the weight loss. Navy tie. Clean beard line. Walked in like I belonged, because for once I did. Halfway through cocktail hour, I saw her. Jenna. Black dress. Heels. Hair done in that overly curated way that screams, "Please notice me, but pretend like I don't want you to." She saw me and froze. I gave her a polite nod. That's it. No wave. No awkward walk up. She lingered near the wine bar the whole time, stealing glances. Once I caught her looking and she turned away so fast she spilled something on her clutch. Poetic. At one point, the groom's sister came up to me and said, "Wow, you look amazing. Didn't even recognize you." Then louder, just enough for Jenna to hear, "You're glowing, dude. Seriously. Good for you." I just smiled. Yeah, I've been working on myself. Dinner. Dancing. Speeches. And not once did I feel like the guy who got left behind. Because I wasn't. She did. A couple days after the wedding, I got a text from Sarah, one of the few mutual friends who didn't pick sides when everything went down. She wrote, "Okay, so not to be messy, but your ex looked like she saw a ghost at the wedding. She's been telling people you fell apart after the divorce. Guess you forgot to tell her you got hot?" I laughed. Legit belly laughed in my car. Then she sent this. "Also, she told everyone you were controlling and emotionally needy and that she had to cheat to feel alive again." Which, I'll admit, stung. But Sarah added, "But after seeing you, people started asking questions. Like, if he's so emotionally broken, how come he seems like the only one doing better now?" Apparently, one guy even asked Jenna if she regretted leaving me, and she got flustered and snapped. He was never going to change. Sarah told me Jenna left the wedding early. Alone. That part made me pause. Not because I felt sorry for her, but because for the first time, her lies didn't hold up in daylight. I didn't have to defend myself. I didn't have to correct the record. I just had to keep showing up as who I actually was. And guess what? That was enough. Her image? Cracking. My life? Evolving. That's how you win without lifting a finger. 3 months after the wedding, I finally sat down with a therapist. Not because I felt broken anymore, but because I needed to know why I ever let it get that far. Why I spent years tolerating coldness, shame, and emotional manipulation like it was normal. Why I stayed when I knew she didn't love me, not really. My therapist was this chill, no BS woman named Denise. After the first session, she said something I'll never forget. "You didn't let her hurt you because you were weak. You did it because you were taught to settle. Taught to think if someone chose you, that was enough, even if they didn't treat you like a choice." That hit so deep, I almost laughed. Because yeah, that was it. Growing up, I was always the funny fat kid. The sidekick. The background guy. When someone picked me romantically, I thought that was a win by itself. I never stopped to ask if I wanted them back. If they even deserved me. With Jenna, I chased her validation like oxygen. Let her gaslight me into thinking I ruined everything with my insecurity. When the truth was, my instincts were never the problem. They were the alarm bells she trained me to ignore. Therapy didn't make me angry. It made me free. Free to stop explaining myself. Free to stop overperforming for people who only clapped when it benefited them. Free to say, "I'm not hard to love. You were just bad at it." 1 year to the day. That's how long it had been since I packed my bag and walked out of the house where my dignity went to die. I didn't plan to commemorate the anniversary. It just happened to fall on a Sunday, and I found myself sitting at my favorite coffee shop, sipping an oat milk latte, reviewing my personal journal and gym tracker. Down 62 pounds. Up 3 belt sizes in the right direction. Mental health? Sharper than it had been in years. And then, like clockwork, my phone buzzed. Jenna. First time I'd heard from her in 6 months. Her name popped up like a ghost breaking through a mirror. Message said, "Thinking of you today. Hope you're doing well. I still remember that Sunday morning walk we took the day after your birthday. You made me laugh so hard I cried. Just wanted you to know you mattered." Nice, right? Nostalgic. Vague. No accountability. Classic Jenna. I stared at it for a second. Once upon a time, I would have spiraled. Wondered if she was changing. Wondered if maybe there was some truth buried in her tears. Maybe she was lonely. Maybe she missed me. But I'm not that guy anymore. Instead of replying, I screenshotted it. Added it to a new folder I call Closure. Then I blocked her number again, for good. Because the message I got wasn't a sign of her growth. It was a sign she still expected me to hold her history gently, while she shattered mine. And the new me? Doesn't babysit anyone's guilt. It's wild how quiet peace is. Not dramatic. Not loud like heartbreak or betrayal. It just exists, like steady breathing after holding it in for too long. 1 year post-divorce, I've got my own place. A job I love. A body that feels like mine again. A circle of people who see me clearly, without conditions or jokes at my expense. No masks. No shame. No weight on my shoulders but the kind I load onto a barbell. I'm still with Emily. It's good. Slow. Respectful. Real. She doesn't worship me. She meets me where I'm at. We both show up. We both rest. We both choose. I look back on Jenna sometimes, not out of longing, but curiosity. How did I ever believe her? How did I let someone so shallow drown me? But I get it now. When you grow up being told you're only lovable if you're funny, compliant, or grateful, you start mistaking crumbs for a feast. You start thinking someone staying, even when they treat you like a burden, is something to be thankful for. It's not. If you're reading this and you're in that kind of relationship, here's what I needed someone to tell me. You're not hard to love. You're just around people who suck at loving. You don't need to lose weight to be respected. You don't need to change who you are to be chosen. But you might need to burn a bridge to save yourself. And when you do, that first step away from them? It's the first step toward you. And you, the real you, is worth every mile of the climb. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.